STDs are an important global health priority because of their devastating impact on people. There should be a STD database to protect the public from individuals who are infected. This will prevent many STDs from getting spread and people from getting affected, as most people with STDs aren't very open about it. It can help preventable deaths, infections, and stillbirths can be decreased immensely. It can decrease anxieties from people before they participate in any sexual act.
So, according to ASHASexualhealth.com, on the subject of herpes alone, about 1 in 8 people aged 14 to 49 in the United States has genital herpes, and most people, close to 90% of people, do not know that they have the infection. Globally, 2/3 of the population under age 50, so that would be 3.7 billion people, are infected currently. 140 million people aged 15 to 49 are in the Americas, Europe, and Western Pacific, so in our area.
Also, this database can prevent an STD outbreak and can reduce the amount of STDs in the country, because some STD symptoms are the same as a urinary tract infection, so people don't understand that they actually have an STD. They just think they have a urinary tract infection. They can just wait it off or go get tested for that, but still are sexually active, so they can actually spread the STD. But if we had a database, that they would actually see that they do have an STD and it's not a urinary tract infection, so they can actually stop partaking in stop partaking in sex until they get treated.
To go on about what Caleb said, like for example, if you just had sex with a person and you have some symptoms, you're like, oh yeah, I might have a urinary tract infection. That person, they would have said something. Well, to prevent that, if you have the STD database, I could have typed it in like, oh yeah, I might want to get checked because they're on there. We're wrapped up for our introduction.
All right, that's the intro. All right, rebuttal.
Alright. Okay. So basically what y'all talking about is for protection, prevention, and stopping people. You can look up somebody's name in the database, see if they have it, you can go get checked out and stuff and see stuff like that. Okay, but according to hss.gov, the key purposes for people's information being displayed is for treatment, healthcare operations, and also payment. The STD database would basically be something for somebody's personal use anyways. It's kind of selfish. It wouldn't prevent anything else. All you have to do as a person to be able to stop someone or stop an STD is to be able to know your limits, know the amount of partners that you sleep with, know when to say no to that person in the first place, and know your sexual partners in the first place. You don't have to go around willy-nilly just going around screwing whoever you want to in the first place. The STD database is kind of something selfish, and I think Maylisha has something that she can add on to that.
I was just gonna say, like, having an STD database would increase the likelihood for bullying, actually. So while you guys were over there talking about how, like, it'll prevent, like, certain, like, diseases and deaths and stuff like that, actually, you're getting rid of one problem but creating another. Because as people start typing in, like, your name and stuff, and you know how, like, in class, sometimes we go about and we, like, joke around and start playing around with each other, talking about how, like, you might have STDs and stuff. That is an act of bullying. And suicide now is the second leading cause of death, according to a study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It's the second, like I said, it's the second leading cause of death following after car crashes. So you're more likely to die from suicide than you are from even an STD in the first place. And the mortality rate for actually people that were affected by the STD was 23,000 people in comparison to the suicide rate, which was 47,173 deaths in the year 2017. That's all I got to say about that.
Also, when you guys said that the only way you can only stop your STDs, is really not. You can do like 10 other type of things just to do that. You could also go on the internet just to look up safer ways to have sex instead of spreading all the diseases.
And we can also talk about the big point that doctor-client privilege is not going to allow for doctors to tell the public if that person has an STD, it's a private matter that's between them and whoever they decide to share it with. So you also have to bring that into play. That's against your First Amendment right. Because you decide who you want to tell your business in your health. Anything else?
That's privilege.
Yeah. This is all about it. Okay. So, for a majority of the things that was said, a lot of the points that were made were based off of suicide and bullying more so than the STD database to begin with. But there are many loopholes that goes into the First Amendment rights that are actually going on within court cases. There are narrow exceptions like court cases and medical procedures against private law. Also, if we're talking about like suicide or deaths or along that matter, due to STDs, 39.7% year rise of congenital syphilis, and the mother passes the infection to the baby during the pregnancy. That will cause infant death and serious health issues, so also the population is decreasing by STDs as well. Oh, and just in 2018, 94 infant deaths and stillbirths were due to STDs. Now, based off of, against for what some things we're saying about like First Amendments and civil rights, in some states you can face a civil law if your partner contacts disease and just did not know about it. Like, for example, in California, it is a felony for anyone who is infected with HIV and AIDS to not tell and have sex with somebody unprotected, and even if the sex was consensual, you can still be sued for that matter.
And I just wanted to say, you said it was selfish for it to just be there. It's selfish to the other person not to tell them if they've had a STD or anything. And you're talking about just, just don't be out here doing everything, watch who you have sex with. Sex is a choice. It's an act. If you want to go out and have sex with people, you should have that right to do so. But you can still be safe about it. And there's 20 million cases every year, and it will actually prevent a lot of those cases from forming. And we never said it was the only way to stop STDs from happening. It's one step. It would just prevent a lot of people from getting hurt and dying.
Also, it's a two-way street. Medical providers can legally disclose persons' STDs and their stature in STDs in certain situations. Like for STDs other than HIV, medical providers can tell hospital staff and anyone that's in danger of the infection, including the sexual partners, and also in HIV. That's also possible in similar situations. It's once again a two-way street because this can also be fear, anxiety, embarrassment, stigmatization, and or discriminatory treatment that can result from the STD being public to both the person infected and to the person that was infected to begin with. So there are many ways that you can get involved in that First Amendment right that was spoken about.
Also, the STD database will be the same as sex offender registration, basically. It's to promote personal safety. I don't want to have sex with somebody that already has an STD. I want to be informed about that person to know what I'm getting myself into. Just like if you walking down the street and you see somebody look suspicious, you know, I might look up, oh, is that a sex offender? Let me go get back in the house. That's just for my personal safety. You said it was selfish, and I don't think it's selfish, because if you're not informed about somebody having an STD, you would get angry over finding it afterwards, knowing that you might have a critically ill disease that can cause you to die. And most of your statements were about bullying and suicide, which has nothing to do about the debate per se.
Fine.
Wow.
You
make this a movie?
STD is kind of a national database will allow you to know like where you would want to live, because honestly, Ohio ranks 16th among states among people who have like just STDs in general, like gonorrhea. They rank 16th. If somebody knew that, then they wouldn't really want to live in Ohio, and it would help you decide where you want to be, where you want to live, what's the safest spot you could, be around people in if you plan on having sex or doing anything with someone.
And finally, for the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, it estimates that once again 20 million new STIs occur every year in the country, with half of that aged 15 through 24. before. So within our age range right now, there are many people who are infected, and if that's half, that means that 10 million new STIs are built or made every year just by our age range alone.
And you know how our age group is, we're very immature, and so we're not gonna be really open about this stuff. And there are a lot of people who don't tell them, and it will limit a lot of anxieties and confusions about this and prevent so much stuff from happening.
Wow.
It's our conclusion.
Okay, so you just said that a lot of our generation is immature, and then you said that the bullying and suicide has nothing to do with it, but if you just said we were immature, so don't you think if I could type up somebody's name right now on the National STD Database that I could bully them until they actually think about committing suicide? People can get bullied over them picking up different clothes and stuff like that. If I wore something different than somebody else, then somebody could say something about me in the first place. So how does it not have anything to do with it?
Can we clarify?
We just wanted to clarify that we didn't say it had nothing to do with the subject.
He said it had
We
nothing
said
to
it
do
had.
with
Quote you.
He
You said
clearly
it
said
had
it had
nothing to do with the debate.
Not nothing to do with their personal life.
Okay, but anyway, like I was saying
You
before.
can get bullied for anything.
Exactly.
Including having an STD, which goes with the debate.
Okay. So like we were saying before, and then you said how the STD database would actually help and do all these other things, but the estimated annual cost of STIs and STD treatment in the US is $16 billion, and we're already in debt in the first place. So don't you think if I had to hire the help and do all these different things to set all this stuff in motion, don't you think that would put us in even more debt in the first place?
Is there a price on your life? Is that what you're saying?
It would do more good than harm.
You're interrupting. Anyways, but there's already privacy rules and stuff established like that in the first place that keep people information confidential. So I don't need to have a national database displaying my name across for everybody else to see when some of my information is already supposed to be secretive. And the reasons for our information being displayed, like I said before, is for treatment, healthcare operations, and for also payment, doing with other jobs and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with prevention, and us saying that all of our things spread across this word has never been listed as anything as helping prevent the STD. The most listed reasons are having protected sex, keeping our sex to a minimum, keeping it low, and knowing who your sexual partner is in the first place instead of having it displayed across the board for everybody to see.
And
That would be a part
Oh,
of.
we're not done.
All right.
Okay, and to go back to the civil suit that you were talking about earlier, a civil suit is between you and another person, not between you and the 7 billion people that are in the US. So to think that 7 billion people can see if you have an STD or not is probably not a loophole you can get around in the First Amendment.
And also, back to the bullying topic. The bullying topic about the bullying topic, people are, if you already know that you have an STD, you don't want to walk down the street knowing that everybody knows that you have an STD. That will cause someone to go ahead and try to kill themselves.
And then you said, talking about having an STD, you compared it to somebody being a child molester or something like that. Like, I'm gonna just walk down the street and be like, oh, that man looks suspicious. He might just have an STD. Let me go look him up. And then you said something about stillborn babies and stuff like that. But according to worldpopulationbalance.org, the U.S. population is growing by over 2 million people per year in the first place. So it's not like it's causing a damaging effect. Our population is continuing to grow with all these rates, despite what's going on with that.
That was cold.
All right, y'all just argue. Y'all can just argue now.
Cold hard.
So we got an argument.
Yeah, y'all can just argue. Let me zoom out. Cause I wanna.
Okay, this is our thing right here. So, actually, it's a group activity. No, y'all have.
Hold on, let me see. Let me see all yours.
Okay, so y'all said that was just one case, it's one of many. And the other thing about the celebrity, what does that mean? They shouldn't have to go through pain. You're preventing a lot of people from getting, like, everybody with the STD, they don't die. They just live a painful life. They live a very painful life. Why should they have to live a painful life?
Exactly, and it sounds more so like, for majority of the things that were said, there were some facts that were presented, but majority of it seemed as if it was like personal opinion as opposed to facts and actual statistics as opposed to what's actually going on with the actual national database.
That's an
So it
opinion.
seemed more like,
That is an opinion.
well, it was based off of assumption, and it's based off of how the speech was
Assumption?
presented.
You're making an assumption right now.
So the city, like, once again, since I was not finished speaking, 3 voices just overpowered. What I was pretty much saying was the fact of stillborn babies and how the rating of the population is still rising. In reality, even though we're looking at the bigger picture of the ratings going higher with more population, it still doesn't take away the fact that these babies and these people are affected by STDs and STIs brought into this world that had absolutely nothing to do with STDs or STIs as to have an STD or an STI. So it's like kind of heartless for people to speak about, oh, well, the population is being raised, but these babies are dying, or at least almost 100 babies dying every year from this.
That's an opinion as well.
That's a fact that babies are going through pain. That's a
But
fact.
it's heartless as it's an opinion.
So you think it's not heartless that babies are dying?
That's my opinion.
There was no yes or no, it was just a that's my opinion, so what is your opinion?
We're not debating that though. I'm telling
Anyway,
you,
we're
you
gonna
wanted to
resolve
suggest
here.
an opinion.
It became more so an argument, the debate is kind of invalidated at this point, we're just arguing, so once again,
We're arguing about the debate, not babies being stillborn.
what is your opinion?
Okay, can I say something? Cause y'all just
Yeah,
like
go
the
ahead.
You had said we already in debt, so why? Can you say what you had said about we in debt like $16 billion?
No, I didn't say we were in debt.
You
You
said
didn't say you were in debt.
That's not what I said. All trying to tell me that's exactly what I said. Can I say what I said?
Y'all on there saying the
Yes,
country
we
is
are.
in debt.
No, I said the estimate.
Hold on, everybody, bring it down. Shamar got it. Let him say it.
I said the estimated cost of STDs and STIs annually is about $16 billion. Not that we were in debt $16 billion.
No, you said that.
No, that's not what I. Can we review the footage?
All right, what he said, hold on. He said, what he said was,
I heard the word.
the country is in debt. Do we want to put more money towards that because of STIs and
Exactly.
STDs?
So what are y'all talking about? Why you really think you know what you're talking about?